Hi Elza, so hopefully this will be quite a quick video. I've looked at your pictures and your measures, built a quick model as you can see. I think this is where we started, and there's a couple of things to note quickly there. I mean, I spent some time looking at whether we could fill the full width and various ways of doing that. There are ways of doing that. Your back of door basket here, which I guess you're planning to use for cleaning products and stuff into the sink, that's a good idea. I think I'd be using the wire product, not the mesh there. The finish is reasonably tough, but I've got a feeling that the mesh won't sort of stand up to that kind of use. It's really for sort of clothing and fabrics, things like that. I think the wire will be a lot harder wearing. In a very wet environment, it will eventually start showing signs of rust, so there's something to be aware of there. If you want to get this basket lower in the arrangement, you're going to have to get the 1.5, that's approximately 1 meter. To get that lower, you're going to have to use the 1.5 meter hang standard and cut it down. You're going to have to cut it off at this point. That can be done with a standard hacksaw. That cut is going to be in quite a visible area. If I was doing this, I would be filing that nicely and perhaps putting some paint on the cut area. Again, just being aware of where that's being used. A cut piece of mild steel without paint on it might start showing signs of rust, but if you have the basket up here, I suspect that's going to be too high to use. So either cut that and move this down, move it up and you'll have limited height above it, or reconsider using this component at all. So let's move on. Yes, and we've got the pegboard. There's obviously, lots and lots of different components you could put on that pegboard, and there are various things like this that you could put on the pegboard over here to get some sort of alternative provision for whatever you were storing in there. You can order the pegboard components from me. You haven't shown any on your design so far. Because we're not using Garage Plus, this pegboard is made of two 600 by just under 400 millimeter boards, and that is in white. All of this is in white. Right, let's move on quickly to another design. Bear with me while I change this around. So yeah, I'm gonna skip that. I've found better ways of solving that problem. So let's I've shown you C1 so far. I'm going to go to C3 now, and let's get that all opened. So I have managed to fill the entire run by a 600, a 600, a 600, a 600, and then a 450 at the end. Now that is a real squeeze. It might be that you have to cut. If you want to do this, you should consider that you might have to cut the first, you see that piece of wire there, you might have to cut that off. Very normal with Elfa to do this by cutting through these pieces of mild steel here. You're going to have to do that if you have to do it to one, you have to do it to all three of those shelves. It's possible you can do that with a standard hacksaw. It's something that I do almost every day when I'm doing an installation. I'm not going to pretend it's not a slightly irritating job to have to do. It'll probably take you about an hour or two, but it can be done if you really want to fill that width. All my comments about this unit here remain. Consider whether you want to have a longer standard in there or have it higher up, or dispense with this entirely, and I would go for the wire component, not the mesh. Again, same comments over here. On that board there's plenty of components that you can buy to go on that, and let's try and talk about that in advance. Right, I'm now going to go to C4. Here we are, C4. So this, I have managed to sort of squeeze everything in here by going 45, 600, 600, 600 and another 45. Now that's going to leave you approximately, if you have that nice and centrally mounted, that's going to leave approximately 70 millimeters at either end. No difficult cutting. These are all off-the-shelf components, and if you were apprehensive about a DIY install, this is the design I'd go for. Same comments here. Go for wire. Is it the right component anyway? And if you want it down at this height, you're going to have to buy a longer standard and cut that off about here. Okay, something I do very routinely, but again, you may be apprehensive about doing this as a DIY install. Finally, I did wonder what you'd reserve this space for. It is possible to use that. Again, that's a standard uncut component. I just wondered if you felt that, you know, was this interfering with these two shelves? In my opinion, it's not. You've got plenty of room there, but you may have other motivations for missing those two shelves. Okay, I'm going to send you some 3D screen grabs of each of those and a 2D drawing with basic dimensions, and talk to you soon. Take care. Bye bye.